Colin's sonny Larry. Didn't you and he used to be the best of friends?
We're still the best of friends.
No, you're not.
Who says we're not? Sit somewhere else. Now, if I've done something to you, just tell me what I've done to you.
When you didn't do anything to me, I just don't like you no more.
You didn't like me yesterday.
Why does he not want to be friends with you no more? Why is he 12?
What the hell's going on with you, me feckin' brother?
He's dull, Siobhan.
But he's always been dull.
The other night, 2 hours you spent talking to me about the things you found in your little donkey shite that day.
Well, it wasn't me little donkey's shite, it was me pony's shite, which shows how much you were listening.
If you don't stop talking to me...
Colin!
And if you don't stop bothering me, I have a set of shears at home. And each time you bother me from this day on, I'll take those shears and I'll take one of my fingers off with them and I'll give that finger to you until I have no fingers left. Does this make things clearer to you?
Not really, no.
Starting from now. But shush like, Polly. You know, shush like.
Yeah, I'd shush like.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Schlockandawemovies Quickie review. As always, I'm Lindsay Wilkins. And this time around, we're going to be talking about Martin McDonagh's new movie, The Banshees of Inisherin, which reunites in Bruges Colin Farrell and Brendon Gleeson, a movie that I really love. In fact, I have done an episode on it with the amazing Nathan Jones, if you ever want to listen to it. Banshees of Inisherin is playing as part of the British Film Festival and will open wide across the country on the 26th of December, Boxing Day. Usually also I call best time to go to the movies. Look, you're hungover, it's hot, you're in a cool room. Best screening I've ever had was Paddington 2. I don't know what to say. And though I'm also pretty sure this is playing wide in the UK and America and all that, it's a really good movie. You should go, which is kind of spoiling my review. But I wasn't actually going to review this. I just went to this because I didn't want to go home before I went to the Astor Spectacular in Melbourne, which was a great night. I got to see Evil Dead 2, Final Destination 2, Scream 2, Hellraiser 2, and some of Nightmare on Elm Street 3 with a crowd, and it was a great crowd, and they absolutely all played. I was a little sad because I'd just seen Hellraiser 2. Again, I've done it just a show on it. If you want to go listen to it, me and Dirk paired up with part of our Halloween series with Rob Zombie's Halloween. But it was a great night. But it's the Banshees I can't stop thinking about. This thing has just taken rent in my head. So yes, I want to talk about it. So I am just doing a review of it. So it was a Saturday night. I managed to get work off and I went and got myself a whiskey cocktail, as you do when you're going to go see something very Irish. Sat down with some friends and went to the fictional island of Inisherin. Essentially, the movie is about Patrick, played by Colin Farrell, who every day walks over to his best friend's house, Colin's house, played by Brendon Gleeson, so they can walk together to their daily pub date, which starts at 2 p.m. Now, someone whose partner also has a weekly pub date with his besties at 2 p.m., I found this whole thing hilarious. I was just sitting there giggling, especially when the fact that Gleeson does not open the door to his friend. Yeah, because the whole premise is that Brendon Gleeson has no interest in no longer wanting to be Colin Farrell's friend anymore. And, of course, this sends ripples throughout the small community. Like a lot of other McDonagh movies, this movie is about a lot more, and I mean a lot more. He's going back to the idea that he started with in Bruges, which is looking at a form of purgatory. Now, with Inisherin, it's most likely more of a limbo. Nothing really changes. Life goes on to day as it's done generations previous. As much as I love In Bruges, which I do a lot, I mean, you're an inanimate object. It's got some of the one to go, yeah, you're cunt, your kid, yeah, wife's a cunt, your kids, stop, don't call my kid cunt kids. Okay, I take back the cunt kids. Anyway, I love this movie. I'm misquoting it, but it's a fantastic movie. And I still want to go to Bruges, in fact, just so I can stare at things and be bored. Like, this is how much I love this movie. But The Banshees of Inisherin is a more mature piece of work. I was talking to a friend, past and future guest, Preston Mitchell, who also noted that. And as much as the story is about how people relate or in cases do not relate to one another, it is also about time. In a place where nothing ever changes or time feels like it stands still, it's not about when you're running out of time, but it's how you spend it. Patrick is all about routine. His farm chores, hanging out with his pet donkey, annoying his sister, played by, well, I think her name's Jenny. She's called Jenny the donkey in the movie. And, of course, Siobhan, the sister, played by Kerry Condon, and they both actually kind of walk away with the movie, even though this might be Colin Farrell's best performance. To go to the pub with Colin. Colin, on the other hand, thinks in time in a much more expansive and immortal way. In fact, he wants to become immortal. He's a composer. He wants to live longer than his mortal body is going to. He wants to compose something that people will actually, in fact, remember, not just the petty daily activities of the people on the island that no one will ever remember. But at the same time, he's born on this island, he's imprisoned. He's never actually going to leave Inisherin to go to the mainland, to go to the UK, to actually do any, a lot of people who are considered artistic geniuses will travel to go to do more with their music, their art. It has kind of been that way since time immemorial. You go somewhere else to where the people want to hear your shit. Colin can't do that. He's very much in this self-imposed prison on this tiny but gorgeous views island. And that is kind of where the main crux of the conflict becomes between the two of them. These two men confront each other about how they want to spend their time. I mean, there's the great line is like, as Colin says to Patrick, I don't want to hear what you pulled out of your tiny donkey shite the other day. And it wasn't a donkey, it was a pony, shows how much you were listening. It's very much about that dynamic. Patrick is the nice guy who some people consider dull because of it, but he's generally a good person, whereas Colin is much more complex than that. I wouldn't say he's a terrible person, but he's the guy who keeps looking over the horizon. He's never living in the moment, which is something that a lot of people can absolutely relate to. And these confrontations and these fights kind of spread throughout the island, such as the aforementioned Siobhan, as I said, played by Condon, who again steals the movie, who is constantly feeling the restrictions of this island, and also Patrick and Colin's growing feud. You can tell she's seeing her world close in on her constantly, and it's an amazing, amazing performance. Or Barry Keoghan's, sorry, these names are Irish, and you'd think with my Irish heritage, I would actually know how to say these things. No. Who plays the troubled Dominic, who actually has the saddest last line in any movie I've ever heard. Oh my God. Who sees this fight between the two friends as an opportunity for him to actually make friends, try to make this new life for himself. I don't know. I think he actually might have the saddest plot line out of all of them. All these performances are great, by the way. I mean, Martin McDonagh wrote an amazing script and just let these actors attack it. But more than anything else, the Banshees of Inisherin is about depression. Just as like the island is a character in the movie, the island is also a metaphor. Yes, and I know how wanky that sounds. But it's but it's about how time moves when you're depressed. From personal experience, I've always said it's like being stuck in Dorothy Gower's house when it's in the tornado. Everything's spinning around you really quickly, but you can't move. You're stuck. And McDonagh sees it like the island of Inisherin. You are literally also stuck, but you're just looking over the horizon into nothingness, or you're catching brief glimpses of the mainland and what's going on there. This is actually set during the Civil War of the 1920s, which is really fascinating period in history if you ever get a chance to. This period is insane. Like, this is when the IRA was really starting to come up. I think it was called something else. I can't quite remember. But yeah, it's a really, really fascinating time, and it's kind of about the war ending and then kind of life returning to a more normalized version of what Ireland is going to be for the next 50 years, which is still turbulent. But this island kind of tucked away that has nothing to do with it. And more importantly than that, Patrick, Colin, Siobhan, and Dominic are the outsiders of the community. They're the ones who don't fit in. Of course, that and Sheila Flinton, who I'm pretty sure plays the amazing witch character, who just wanders around predicting people's deaths. She's kind of amazing, and she adds this kind of witchy element to the movie, which I absolutely love. Banshees of Inisherin is a special movie. and with these amazing all-time performances from the core four, and of course Jenny, who cannot forget Jenny the donkey. It's truly extraordinary movie. When McDonagh wrote and directed Three Billboards outside of something Missouri, I didn't write the title down. You know that movie. Frances McDormand won her 15th Oscar. McDonagh's an Irishman, an outsider of it, trying to disseminate small town Midwestern American politics. And he doesn't quite have the intimate knowledge. He doesn't exactly know what he's doing. I mean, there's a great monologue when Frances McDormand's yelling at a priest. Yeah, I'm guessing as an Irishman, Martin McDonagh's going to understand that intimately of why she's pissed off at the priest. But everything else kind of feels forced. And even though it's got an amazing cast, no one can make it work. Yeah, okay, Sam Rockwell won the Oscar. He was great, but nah. But with Banshees, he's writing about a place that even though he didn't grow up in the small island community, he understands that small town Irishness. The fact that privacy is not a thing that exists. This movie is constantly people watching over you, kind of already know what's going on before you enter a room. You've got constantly portraits and shrines to the Virgin Mary always watching over you. This is a very Catholic community. This is a place where you have to go to confession, even though you only really see Brendon Gleeson in confession. And it's just this very extraordinary line of Catholic morality, not what we would call a modern morality, that I think we see the movie through. And Martin McDonagh plays with that really, really well. But he understands these conflicts, how the time, the way an small Irish community is going to move and relate to each other, and how bitter and nasty and horrible they can be. And he captures all of that with a beautiful honesty, like he did within Bruges with these two characters in a place they don't want to be, waiting for the inevitable. What I love about Banshees is the inevitability is there, but it's going to take a long time to get there. And it's old. It's an ancient place. And there's nothing really that mystical about it. It's just you sit around and drink a pint and talk the same shit that you did that you've talked about for decades to come. And I can understand the plights of these characters, and I love them all. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I can't stop thinking about it. I wanted to talk about it, so I have. If you get a chance to see this movie, even when it comes on streaming, just any way you can, it is still very funny. It's still very entertaining, but there is a beautiful bleakness to this movie that I can't quite shake off. Especially the way that he turns jokes around. You think something's really funny, and then you find out a little bit more about it, and then you're like, oh no, that's bad. But yeah, it is an amazing movie. As I said, if you want to see Colin Farrell give one of his all-time performances, see this movie. If you want to fall in love with Kerry Condon, see this movie. If you want a pet donkey, go see this movie. Yeah, I should probably stop rambling on, but this is an amazing movie. I'm glad I finally got to vent about it. I'll be back at some point with another Quickie review. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.